Rupert Murdoch calls it the most difficult year in recent history, and it's left him with a dilemma. The Murdoch empire has taken another big hit, with News Corp reporting a fourth quarter loss of more than $200 million. Over the past year, the media conglomerate's bottom line has tumbled by $3.4 billion. Mr. Murdoch says the worst may be over, but he warns there are no clear signs yet of a fast economic recovery. Well, to help turn things around, Rupert Murdoch says he will start charging for access to all the company's newspaper websites. But that's a gamble when so many other sites continue to provide free news and information. Stephen Mayne is a shareholder activist who once nearly became a director of News Corp, and he joins me now from Melbourne. So, Stephen Mayne, you started Crikey and you charged for content. So is that pay-per-view or subscription model one that can work for News Corp?
Well, I think I did it in an email sense, and you can do that. But when it's a website, I think it's incredibly difficult. The Wall Street Journal is the only news website in the world that charges, and Rupert owns that. But the vast majority don't. So I think for Rupert Murdoch to declare that, the Herald Sun, the Daily Telegraph, every one of his newspapers in the world, and he is the world's biggest newspaper owner, for them all to charge is a very risky proposition, and I predict that they won't get much revenue and they'll simply lose a whole heap of traffic.
But Rupert Murdoch's argument is that quality journalism isn't cheap and that you have to pay for the good stuff.
Well, that may be so, but a lot of what Rupert does isn't particularly high quality, and if there is other high quality material from Fairfax or from rivals in Britain and the US that is still free, then everyone will just go to their websites. So you can only charge if everyone is charging and if your content is particularly fantastic. So the big challenge for Rupert is to round up all of the big newspaper publishers around the world and to get them to all collude and agree to change the business model, and that will be very hard given they all compete so aggressively.
I suppose the big question is whether Rupert Murdoch and News Corp can survive without doing this, without charging.
Oh, well, they're diversified enough that, from film and television and pay TV in particular, cable news, they've got diversified operations. But the problem Rupert has got is he's in the dinosaur industry of newspapers. The industry is collapsing. His advertising revenue is down sort of 20% across the board. Google has cut everybody's lunch. And I think the only real way he can get out of it is to get companies like Google to start paying him money in return for aggregating their content. And I think that's his eventual strategy. It's get everyone together, start charging, and then do a big deal with Google to try and scoop up some of their billions of dollars of annual advertising revenue derived from aggregating newspaper content.
So, Stephen Mayne, briefly, what is the future for newspapers for print? Do they have a future if the same content is available for free on the web?
Look, I think newspapers, it's a dying industry. It's environmentally bad, the numbers are falling, and the trick is you have to migrate to the web and somehow find a way to pay for it. So I think that unless they can do a deal with Google and tee up with the search engine companies, then it's going to be very difficult. That said, Rupert Murdoch has made about $500 million from having a controlling stake in realestate.com.au. So he does have some successful internet models, and he's just got to keep looking for those, and over time eventually shut down the print versions of his newspapers, as everyone will eventually do.
Stephen Mayne, thank you.
Thanks, Ros.